Hello and welcome to today's family program. I'm Dr. Abed Kitcher, and it's always a joy to come to you. It's yet another week, and we have very, very important things to talk to you about as far as you are on the planet Earth and you are building relationship and living with other people. If you have joined our program for the first time today, I would like to encourage you to go and watch the previous programs that we have had, and also to acquaint yourself with what has gone on. Why is this important? Because our programs are built one on the other, and sometimes we talk about certain things in details and just make mention of them in passing in next, programs. So if you have just joined, I would encourage you, make time and listen to the previous programs, and that will be very helpful to you. Today, we are going to talk about making conclusions. Making conclusions. Making conclusions is something that is normal. Everybody makes conclusions. Everybody has the right to make some conclusions, but it's not always that the conclusions we made are right or are in place. Why is it so? Because we don't take into consideration some very important things that come to play as we make conclusions concerning, what happens or what we see or what we hear and so on and so forth. It is very, very important that you will not be in a hurry to make conclusions. Any conclusions made hastily is bound to, have some defects and bring some problems and misunderstandings. And it is very, very, very bad that you would say you are convinced about something that in the event of investigating, it turns out not to be so. It is not really good. The fact that somebody said something that maybe hurts you, that you don't like, does not make the thing that was said true or false. You see, most of the times we make conclusions based on our own mindset and what we think about whatever is happening. It is very wrong that you conclude when somebody makes a statement that you may not really understand, and to say, well, I know you don't like me, I know you don't take my words for anything, because the truth told sometimes is very, very bitter and very hard, but it is supposed to be told. Why? Because it is very, very important to let, especially people that you are in relationship with, know exactly what your true mind, your true thoughts, and your views are. So please do not make hasty conclusions. Before you make conclusions, remember when we were growing up as children, they tell you before you cross the road, if you are at a zebra, still look left and look right, because anything could be happening around you before you cross. Don't just get up to the zebra and start crossing. You need to still watch around. So please, before you make any conclusions, make sure that you have dealt with everything surrounding what you are going to make the conclusions about. Yes, it makes decisions a little bit slower, but then you are bound to make the right decision or conclusions, without having to hurt any person. It is very, very important that most of the times, because especially if you are with your wife or your children or your work colleagues, and I mean people that you see on the day-to-day basis and have been with them for a while, and you think you know them. Sometimes we feel we know people even more than they know themselves because we are always with them. So it is very, likely you would make conclusions based on what you feel you know, but that will still not be the right thing. Please, before you make any conclusions, remember that your judgment and your conclusions can help build or destroy the relationship that you have. In making conclusions, don't also use the absolute words like always, never. You always, are late. You never put the thing in the right place. This is not going to help you. When you say things like, oh yeah, I know I wasn't expecting anything different. So if you weren't expecting anything different, why are you now nagging about the whole thing that has happened? It is so important that before we make conclusions, we could even ask a few questions like, oh, I think you have placed the thing in the wrong place. Did you do that deliberately? Then he says, oh, sorry, I forgot. So you now know that he placed it there because he forgot. Or he would say something like, oh, yeah, I did put it there because I was going to, work on this and that. Then it makes sense. So although the thing is not in the right place, it has to be there under the circumstances that we are dealing with. please make sure before you make conclusions, you ask a few questions. We can talk more about this in next programs, but I want you to understand that one thing that will help you in life and in your relationship and in making success in your life will be for you not to rush into making conclusions. What are you making conclusions about? You know, there are some stereotypes. Oh, people from this place are like this. Europeans do that. Africans do this. Asians are that. And it is a generalized perception. Sometimes you find a big chunk of the people which may make it legitimate, but yet there might be one or two. So if you are dealing with those special cases, you do not generalize, because that is one out of the pack that is not fitting into the mold. So please let us not make conclusions based on stereotypes. If you make conclusions based on stereotypes, you will never progress, you will never go forward, because you will say this is what it is and it can never change, and that is what I am going to take. Next time when you have to make conclusions, pause and remember, you may ask a question or two, and you should not be in a hurry. Please make conclusions that would help build the relationship. Until I see you again next week, this has been today's family program, and I'm Dr. Albert Kitcher, and we'll see you again next week. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.